This is the brand new ASUS ZenBook 14 UX425. It is available in a total of 2 different sizes, so you can get this laptop in a 13-inch or a 14-inch form factor. They are both priced the same and they both have the same specs as well. So the one that we have here is the 14-inch version, and this laptop here is, I would say it's kind of polarizing because of one controversial design choice by ASUS. But either way, I still think that this laptop is a very good laptop, but that design controversial decision is kind of something that you need to keep in mind. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's start off with the controversial design choice first, because that's what you want to hear, right? So it's the I/O ports. ASUS advertises this laptop to have full-size I/O ports and still be the thinnest 14 or 13-inch laptop in the world. So you have a full-size HDMI port here, double Thunderbolt 3 ports, and also indicator LED for your battery, which I think is good. And then on the right side here, you have a full-size USB Type-A, 5 gigabits, and then a micro SD card reader with a status indicator LED. So, do you realize why I say it's kind of controversial? There's no audio jack. So for some people, this might be a big problem for you because you want to plug in your headphones, earphones to do meetings, calls, or maybe you just want to listen to your music in the office with your wired earphones or headphones. And for me personally, I don't think that's much of an issue. But then again, there are a few issues that you need to take note of. Firstly, if you want to use your Bluetooth headphones or earphones with Windows laptops, it is not really a good experience because of how Windows manages Bluetooth devices. And that is especially true if you want to pair the same earphone or headphone with your phone and the laptop. The process of just pairing and re-pairing again with different devices when it comes to Windows, it's just not pleasant. So if ASUS doesn't include an audio jack into this laptop, then maybe they have used up all the space available on the laptop itself, so you don't have enough space for a 3.5mm headphone jack. And out of curiosity, I opened up the laptop. And just a side note here, this laptop is obviously not meant to be opened because there are hidden screws underneath the rubber feet, these two in particular, so you need to take it off before you can unscrew the entire back panel. And there are lots of adhesive on this side, so you will have to slice through the adhesive, which is just not something that I advise you to do. And inside there, you cannot upgrade anything except if you want to swap out the SSD, but I don't think you want to do something like that because the SSD in here is really good enough. Anyway, you can see that there's 2 blank spaces on both sides of the motherboard, right? ASUS could have easily fit in an audio jack there. And I've also checked the 13-inch version of this laptop, the UX325, and inside that laptop is also the same case. There are extra spaces on both sides of the motherboard, which again, ASUS could have fit in an audio jack. So I'm not sure why they remove it, but then again, at least ASUS included a USB Type-C sound card. And why I say it's a sound card is because when you plug it in, Windows detects it as a different output source. So yeah, you cannot use those smartphone dongles where you have a direct USB Type-C pass-through. Yeah, it's just kind of annoying to say that you need to bring out another dongle because imagine this, you have 2 Type-C ports here. So if you want to plug in your headphone, that means you have to sacrifice one of your Type-C port. And then another port for your charging, that means you don't have any other Thunderbolt 3 ports available. That's just kind of a bummer. And while we are talking about the Thunderbolt 3 ports, ASUS, please move one of the Thunderbolt 3 onto the right side as well so I can plug in either side for charging, please. And back to the audio department. Without an audio jack, at least ASUS included a very good built-in speaker here. It's bottom firing. I know I have complained about bottom firing speakers in the past, but this laptop sounds exceptionally well for its size. So let's now talk about the design of this laptop. I really do like the entire design of this ZenBook UX425. It is pretty reminiscent of the previous generations of ZenBook, but this time around it's a lot more rectangular. You can see it's elongated on this side and it's a bit shorter on this side. And it still has that iconic circular design here on the ASUS logo on the lid itself. And the whole thing is made out of metal with chamfered edges everywhere. So I really like this design. And rigidity for such a thin and light laptop, it's really strong. I can't flex it at all. So good job on that, ASUS, despite not having an audio jack. And when you open up this laptop, you can see that the closest competitor with this laptop that I can think of is the XPS 13-9300, which we have reviewed not too long ago. You can check it out at the top right corner there. And the reason I say that is because the specs are kind of identical. There are a few differences here and there, especially the screen and the battery size. So the screen on this laptop, I would say it's good enough. It's a 1080p IPS panel, 16:9 in aspect ratio, and you have pretty thin bezels around the sides, and the webcam is at the top too. What kind of improvement that I would like ASUS to do with the next generation of ZenBook is to use a 16:10 aspect ratio display and take up part of that bottom chin as well, because that's what the XPS 13 did, and I really love that design in comparison to this. But then again, the XPS 13 does have a touchscreen option, and ASUS, it's been years, please give us a touchscreen option as well. And now let's talk about the keyboard on this laptop. So, like what I mentioned just now, this laptop is a bit elongated on this side. And when you first look at the keyboard, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it, but when you start typing, you can see and feel that the keys are also slightly elongated, just like this laptop body. And it doesn't really bother me that much, but it's just something that I noticed. And what did bother me is the arrow keys. So you can see here, there's an extra column of keys on the far right side, and the arrow keys have been shifted to the right by one column as well. That took me some time to get used to, but anyway, this extra column of keys is of course very useful. You got the usual home and page up and page down keys, and the power button is at the top right corner there. So to prevent you from mispressing that power button when you're typing, ASUS made the power button to be much more stiffer than any other keys on this keyboard, which I think is kind of mitigating the problem. You're not really solving the problem, but at least you can mitigate it. And as for the keyboard typing experience itself, I would say it's pretty good. It has this kind of pretty long travel distance despite having such a thin body. And overall, it's very soft. I enjoy typing this entire script using this laptop itself, and I just find that to be fun. And as for the trackpad, it is also kind of elongated, and it also has the number pad feature as well, which we have talked about in the B9-450 review, which you can also check at the top right corner there. Usefulness, it really depends on your workflow, and for us, it's really just easy for us to swipe in from here, launch the calculator app, and then do some quick maths. And this trackpad also tracks very well. I didn't see any palm rejection issues as well, even with such an elongated trackpad. The cursor didn't disco dance on the screen, and it uses Windows Precision trackpad drivers, so everything tracks very good. And as for the performance, I'm just going to briefly go through all of these things here, because obviously this thing is not going to top your benchmark charts or whatever. It does come with an Intel Core i7-1065G7. It has a better iGPU, but of course it's not like better than AMD or even comparable. So don't play games on this thing and you'll be fine. Lightweight content creation, maybe. I did try Premiere, but it just doesn't run that well. And overall, I would say that if you're doing just office work, this laptop is perfect for it because lightweight and whatnot. And for the battery life, this laptop comes with a 67 watt-hour battery, which is also the same as the B9-450, which you can check out the top right corner there. I got about 9 hours of battery life throughout a single charge, and I'm only using the typical web browsing, Spotify, some YouTube videos, and this time around, no Photoshop because I didn't need Photoshop this time around. But still, 9 hours of battery life is amazing for this laptop. And as for the charging time, it takes about 2 hours to charge from 15 to 100%, which is again very typical. And so the final question is, should you buy the ASUS ZenBook UX425. And to be blunt with you, I'd say yes, because this laptop, despite not having an audio jack, I'm actually fine with it because I don't really listen to music when I'm using a laptop anyway, and everyone has phones, right? So listen to music on your phone instead. But then again, it varies between person to person. So if you want to do your meetings and whatnot using this laptop, you will need that audio jack. So use that dongle, included dongle, if you want to use that audio jack. And this variant of the ZenBook UX425 that we have here is the highest spec variant. There's also another lower spec variant with the Intel Core i5-1035G1, which obviously costs less, and it is also available in the 13-inch variant as well. So they both have the Intel Core i5 and a Core i7 version, and they're both priced the same as well. So that truly depends on you, whether you want a 13-inch or a 14-inch version, if you want a Core i5 or a Core i7 version. For me personally, for such a laptop, I would just use it for web browsing, typing, and some lightweight Photoshop, so an Intel Core i5 would be fine. And for the Core i5 version, it is only priced at 3,999 ringgit, whereas the Core i7 version is priced at 4,699 ringgit. For that price, I would say it is just, how would I say this? It's very unexpected for ASUS to price it that low for such a great laptop. But again, you have to take note of that missing audio jack because it's kind of rubbing salt to the wound. And that's all we have to say about this laptop in particular. Do leave your comments down in the comment section below. And if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them. We'll see you in the next video. So keep safe and we'll see you next time. Keep safe. Stay safe.